From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast with Scott Sander.
Welcome to the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast. I'm Scott Sander. On this episode,
we will meet some of the Champions of Diversity Award winners. Shea explains how to wrap up 2023 and launch 24 in accounting and bookkeeping, and how the practice of law is changing post-COVID crisis.
Every business is unique and has a target audience. If you own or manage a business, Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble, offering best-in-class results, service, and support to reach a bigger customer base, allowing you to pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. Get outside the city, the state, span the globe. Put Circulus Digital Media to work for you. Get started now at circulusdigital.com. That's circulusdigital.com.
Time for This Week in Business. Last segment, we met Danny Portee, winner of the Champions of Diversity Award for 2023. He and the other award winners met this week for a photo shoot, so we were there too.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. This Week in Business.
It's our 17th year doing Champions of Diversity. Imagine 20 years ago, it actually started, but 2 years of COVID, so this is our 17th year. The purpose of the awards to recognize people statewide, but also now nationally that's doing great things in equity, inclusion, and inclusion across the whole state. MLK Award, which is the Martin Luther King Award, is going to Caroline Mays. She's did great things across the whole state. Also the William G. Mays, which is the former business mogul here. Danny Portee is getting an award. We also have 18 other awards that we're giving out this year. Every year, about between June and October, we his nominations. It's nominations that last about 2 months, so people submit nominations on certain categories to be nominated. You can attend the ceremony January the 12th, 2020 at the JW Marriott downtown. Tickets, you can buy tickets, single tickets, buy tables or sponsorships. We have new award. What's imagine this year, many of us know Amos Brown, who worked at Radio 1, but also the recorder. So imagine this year us having the Amos Brown Award, as much as he meant for the city of Indianapolis. But we're also having some national award. Google's receiving an award. Pat Gammon Moore is also receiving an award. The reason why the recorder started this 20 years ago was to basically just recognize people that's doing great things. I say again, across the whole state and also in Indiana, because sometimes we don't recognize people that's doing great things. Sometimes we don't even know that people that's doing great things until they recognize it. People need to see them more. I'm always looking forward to just seeing the first walking into the room, seeing the crowd. Then it always amazes me when people actually receive the awards, how happy this makes them. To me, seeing that joy on their faces, because sometimes some of these people have been putting in great work for a long time but have never been recognized. So imagine you actually receiving something that your state of Indiana is giving you. It gives them a sense of joy and happiness. This event to me is it's very important, not just because of the recorder, but imagine the recorder being in existence for 120 years. We've been doing this award for 20 years, just recognizing icons, recognizing Martin Luther King, recognizing Rosa Parks, recognizing William G. Mays, and for the past 17 years, we've always had this event on a MLK weekend. So just the importance of all of that, leading to the weekend. So the importance of all of that. When I first started, I'm president and CEO for 5 years. When I first started, we have a attendance of 400 at the Hyatt. Now we're at the JW Marriott at 1,000. So we even have a national speaker coming in, Ramon Ray, who's going to bring more excitement and all of that. So I see this event growing. But the main thing is not just the growth, but just recognizing individuals that need to be recognized.
I am the Vice President and Chief Health Equity Officer for IU Health and the Associate Dean for Health Equity Research for the IU School of Medicine. This award is such a tremendous honor to win it, especially when we're only 2 years into our journey of having stood up the inaugural Health Equity, Office for Health Equity at Indiana University Health. It's just really tremendous to be kind of recognized recognized for our efforts and our contribution. We have been working really hard to be a partner with communities of color, those communities that have historically been like financially, socially disadvantaged. We want to sort of move beyond our four walls and move our models of care to the places where people are living and working and playing.
Hi, I'm Brian Payne, and I'm the former CEO and president of the Central Indiana Community Foundation and the president of the Indianapolis Foundation, and now I'm the principal of CARVE, a consulting and executive coaching firm. Well, as I was the CEO of the Central Indiana Community Foundation, we have made a huge commitment over the last 7-8 years on racial equity and fighting systemic racism and dismantling systemic racism. And so we've been a significant supporter of the Recorder and pretty much a significant supporter of everything that has to do with making Central Indiana the most racially equitable community in America. That's the goal, and I think it's absolutely possible.
I am Dion Livingston, Regional Vice President for Radio 1. I'm receiving the Amos Brown Community Service Award, and it's really outreach that the stations of Radio 1 have done all year long. And I'm just glad that I'm getting awarded, but it's really their work that the stations have done in the community, and which falls in line with Amos. I had the privilege of working with Amos Brown for over a decade, and as a great community leader he is, I'm just really excited to receive this award in his honor.
Jordan Coleman, I'm with Bank of America, I'm Vice President Market Executive. Ultimately, that means I support the community with our philanthropic dollars through grants and sponsorships for Bank of America in Indianapolis. I'm going to get the being awarded the Stewardship Young Leader Award. Ultimately, some of my efforts in the community come from either coaching high school basketball, working with 100 Black men, my fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi, and really just being a beacon of light for someone who kind of helps to look like me. We get into a habit of only wanting to play sports, and so hopefully this helps individuals, young individuals, to say, you know what, I can go into banking and be this great person.
This Week in Business is made possible by BE&O Power.
BE&O Power recognizes Black excellence in education. This week we honor Mallory Dunn of Geist Elementary School, Karen Bush of Hamilton Southeastern High School, and Linda Duda of Holy Angels Catholic School. Congratulations. You're all excellent educators.
Champions of Diversity Awards will be handed out January 12th at the JW Marriott. For information about the awards, the sponsorship opportunities that are out there, or if you'd like to go, we have links at beoshow.com. Time to talk accounting and bookkeeping with the man who knows our books well, Shea from Circle City Broadcasting, our Chief Financial Officer. Thanks for being with us, Ty. As we reach the end of the year, and in fact, as we speak, Old Lang Syne is, warming up in the background. What do you, as a person who minds the money, think about? How do we wrap up the new year and make sure we launch a new one in the right way?
Yeah, it's great to see you again. Yes, as many people perhaps in your company are kind of winding down the year and planning for vacations, things like that. Oftentimes, the accountants are kind of really just ramping up and heading into what is often referred to as their busy season. There's a lot of kind of year-end checklists, things accountants need to do to kind of wrap up the year, and there's no time like the present to get on that, even in advance of tax season, which is certainly a few months down the road. But your external accountant or tax preparer or whoever would certainly be grateful for any work you're doing on the front end here to kind of get things squared away, and some of those include obviously kind of cleaning up your books. It's a great time to look at your accounts receivable aging, what's hanging out there. Is everything collectible? And if it isn't, probably a time to write it off and make sure that year-end balance is a true number for you. Take a look at your payables, what needs to be paid before year-end. For a lot of really small businesses that don't always do accrual accounting, but maybe do so at the end of the year for, say, tax purposes or whatever, it's a time to look at, what's hanging out there and making some, journal entries or whatever that maybe they don't customarily do. But at the end of this period, the calendar and what is often the fiscal year for a lot of companies, it's certainly time to do that.
One thing that we know about the entrepreneurial spirit is it seems to attract people who are always looking forward, looking ahead. And I suspect that there's a temptation to be really aggressive about, okay, well, this is what I need to do for the year ahead, and these are the things I need to think about. This is what I learned from last year that I want to put toward 2024. And it's probably worth underscoring then, because of that personality type, the importance then of making certain everything's put to bed correctly on this New Year's Eve.
100%. And you know what? Often what happens is January 1st, the rest of the company is then already looking to next year. As an accountant, a lot of times you're kind of in between both worlds for at least a month or so, maybe longer, as you're kind of closing up everything on the prior year, but also looking ahead. You're looking at budgets and forecasts and things like that. And so it's kind of a balancing beam up there where you're kind of in two different periods for a period of time. And then it behooves you, the quicker you can close out that prior year, the better, so that you can be more forward-looking and make sure you're not missing, something that's coming up around the corner because you're too focused on getting last year closed out.
I presume, too, that there are lessons to learn as you plan your next year. You look at, and you've told us that there are presumptions that you have to make, educated guesses you have to make, what you think your expenses will be, what you hope your revenues will be. You can then look at actual, factual 12-month information that says, moving forward to the next year, oh, I can change that.
Yes, always really helpful. And yes, and the quicker you close out the prior year, the more quickly you can use that as a tool, as a benchmark for the following year.
Hi, Shea. Good perspective. And a happy new year to you, sir.
Hey, same to you, Scott. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Time for our industry focus. The world certainly changed starting in 2020 when the coronavirus pandemic took hold in the United States. While it seems largely life has returned to something near normal, the virus changed the way many do business. Take practicing law, for instance. We get that story from attorney Nathaniel Lee of Lee, Costle & Feigley, LLP.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Industry Focus.
I started back in 1982, but before I was a trial lawyer, I had some unique experience. What I did is that I was a bailiff in Marion County Superior Court 7, Civil Division. That experience gave me an important advantage in terms of doing jury trials. The judge allowed me to be the bailiff in charge of the jurors. That was the most valuable experience that I've ever had, because in that capacity, I learned what the jurors sometimes saw that lawyers don't see during the course of a trial. And they talk about it. And I thought that was important. And so there's several things we could do as citizens, right? One thing, you could serve your country in the military or for government service to protect and serve. The other thing you could do, of course, is that you can go vote in each election as a citizen, to have a voice in government. But the most powerful entity is to serve on a jury. Only in a jury trial setting, as a citizen, do you have a voice in the outcome of a person's life that's so significant. Every vote is important, but in a jury trial, you're 1 of 6. And if you have a dominant personality, you can make a wrong right. Because when we're doing jury trials, we're seeking justice, but we're seeking accountability. Civil justice. And in a criminal case, a person is punished by the state and they're incarcerated. But in a civil case, you only have one remedy. That is that to right or wrong, you have to put a monetary value on it. And that's the only way that the justice system works. Otherwise, if your neighbor ran over your kid and killed him and you seek revenge, would you take a gun and go blow their head off? Well, our system say, no, that's a bad idea. Civil justice say you sue the person and you try to hold them accountable in civil court. The criminal justice system punishes. The civil justice system give you economic accountability. Over the years, I've been able to use that experience to my advantage. Our firm, we are a trial extensive law firm. During the pandemic, as you can imagine, there was no trials. And I think that in my lifetime, I don't think I've ever been more miserable, because every day, all we did was just work, and there was no end in sight. If you can't try a case, you know what happens? You just work. Lawyers during the pandemic that we dealt with that were friendly and gregarious, they became mean and obnoxious. There were terms that developed, such as Zoom bullies. They'd be on Zoom yelling and screaming, say, dude, what are you doing? You're not going to frighten anybody through a TV screen or something, or yelling and screaming. So it was different practice during the, at least from what I would see from time to time. I'm not saying that all lawyers did that. There's just a few isolated incidents. I want to make that clear, but it was profound. And so the third biggest challenge that I've experienced is remote work. Maybe popular in some circles. A lot of the federal government, I noticed, still allow their employees to work remotely. I can tell you it didn't work for my law firm. Remote work did not work for us because we're a consumer-based law firm, and the net result is that people are seeking communication. They want a now resolution a lot of times. And so they need to see their lawyers, and not everyone have technology to do Zoom. The other problem with that is that if you were an attorney with small children, there was a lack of daycare facility for your children for a couple years. So a lot of our young mothers that worked at the firm, they couldn't come into the office because they could not have daycare. Remember, the schools were also shut down. We saw a lot of businesses go out of business. And I assume that some must have been daycares also. And so because of that, there was a shortage of persons to monitor, to keep your kids safe during the daytime. And so we experienced a loss of some staff because they had to have a job that allowed them to work remotely. And then when the economy opened back up, the cost of daycare went way up. So the biggest change, I thought. I think it's been tough for parents with small children, particularly for our law firm. We lost some employees who could not work in the office with the small children. But now, thank God, we're back hitting on all cylinders, doing lots of trials, and things are going great. We're getting the highest jury verdicts ever all across the country. It had a lot to do, I think, with the thought process. We saw the occurrence of people dying every day. And so I think that people reflectively now are concerned about the plights of others in a light that we've not seen before. Sort of like when we were in a war or something, everybody band together. I think for a while there, I thought this pandemic caused a lot of American citizens to band together. Now we're in a mass political discourse now, but hopefully that too shall pass.
Our thanks again to all the contributors who joined us for this episode of the Business Equity and Opportunities podcast. We hope you found it enlightening, useful, and inspiring. You'll find more information about the show on our website, BEOshow.com. You can watch Business Equity and Opportunities Sunday mornings at 10 on Wish TV or live stream it through wishtv.com. Each week we provide 7 full segments with topics ranging from how to get started and how to access capital to the day-to-day running of your business and questions about accounting and bookkeeping. We feature business news and trends and always share a success story from one of our contributors. Join us next time for more insights into the world of small business. Be sure to sign up for our Business Equity and Opportunities newsletter to get even more valuable, up-to-date information. And if you have any questions or you'd like to be part of our show, please email us. The address is beo@wishtv.com. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Scott Sander. Thanks for listening.
Watch the Business Equity and Opportunity Show on Wish TV and access all of our content and share it on demand anytime at BEOshow.com. You can find more podcasts from Wish TV on the All Indiana Podcast Network at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.